Hello. When I decided that I was going to pursue the Certified Internal Auditor designation, I tried searching YouTube for tips on Part 1 of the CIA exam, Essentials of Internal Auditing. There were general videos about the overall time commitment for the CIA exam and study tips, but there was not a video that solely focused on Part 1. So that's my goal for this video. Before we dive in, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Note that I do have a general video about the CIA exam if you want a more holistic view. I'll link that above. First of all, congratulations. You have either decided to pursue this Certified Internal Auditor journey or you're contemplating. Either way, this video will be helpful to you. Part 1 of the CIA exam is simply about the essentials of internal auditing. I took the exam after only being an internal auditor for 6 months. So you do not need extensive internal auditing experience to pass the exam. In fact, I highly recommend studying for this part of the exam if you are transitioning from external audit, public accounting, or a different job role to internal audit. Let's look at the exam syllabus. Part 1, Essentials of Internal Auditing, has 125 multiple choice questions, which you will answer within 2.5 hours or 150 minutes. This gives you roughly 72 seconds to answer each question. That's a little over a minute. The CIA exam Part 1 aligns with the IIA's International Professional Practices Framework, or you may hear me say IPPF. And the exam includes 6 domains covering the foundation of internal auditing, independence and objectivity, proficiency and due professional care, quality assurance and improvement programs, governance, risk management and control, and fraud risks. Part 1 tests your knowledge, skills, and abilities related to the international standards for the professional practice of internal auditing, particularly the attribute standards and the performance standards. As you can see, Domain 1, Foundations of Internal Auditing, and Domain 2, Independence and Objectivity, account for 15% of the exam. So that's 30% of the exam in total. Domain 3, Proficiency and Due Professional Care, is 18%. Domain 4, Quality Assurance and Improvement Program, is 7%. Domain 5, Governance, Risk Management and Control, is 35%, which is a big chunk of points. So be sure to be proficient in that domain. Finally, Domain 6, Fraud Risks, accounts for 10% of the exam. I hope this helps you see which areas deserve extra study time and practice. Let's dive deeper into the syllabus by looking at each domain. For your benefit, I have compiled the specific objectives of each domain. Be sure to pause this video to read each domain in detail. And beside each objective, you will either see a P or a B. P represents an objective that you should have a proficient or more detailed knowledge of, and B represents an objective that you should have a basic knowledge of. I found those distinctions to be helpful while I did my final review. Let's discuss CIA exam tips. First, do not project the questions into your own organization's practices, policies, and environments. The exam specifically focuses on the IIA's professional standards and guidance. So answer accordingly to the IIA's Code of Ethics, Mandatory Guidance, International Professional Practices Framework, and Recommended Guidance. All of these should be in your study materials. Next, try to eliminate obviously wrong answers as quickly as you can. Then, hopefully, you can narrow the answer down to at least 2 choices. For example, choices A and C. If choice A is more complete of an answer and somewhat includes choice C, then you should select choice A as it is the best generalized answer. Do not spend too much time on a question. Remember, you only have 72 seconds to answer each question. And while some questions may be shorter than others, you should keep an eye on the exam clock. If you notice that you are going over the minute mark, select your first impression of the best answer. Flag the question and move on. If you have time at the end of the exam, a review page will show you all the questions that you flagged so you can revisit them at the end. Given that there is a bit of a time constraint, I still do not think you should rush. Be sure to read the question twice if necessary. Look out for keywords such as most, least, major, minor, all, not, true, false, and except. Pay attention to absolute condition words such as always, never, and every. Remember, there is no penalty for answering incorrectly, so answer each question with an educated guess. Let's discuss study tips. I recommend that you create a realistic study schedule. At first, you may think that you can work full-time, for example, and also study 20 hours a week while juggling other responsibilities. For some of us, this may not be realistic. Pull out the calendar and figure out when you want to start studying, which days you can study, and the amount of time you aim to study on those days. For example, I started studying for Part 1 on September 15th, and then I took the exam around January 9th of the following year, for a total of about 3.5 months of studying. In total, I studied way more than necessary, which was about 150 hours. I was prepared to take the exam in December, but there were not many appointments available to take the tests at the time. So it is very likely that you may only need about 2 to 3 months of studying, but every candidate is different. It depends on your professional experience, your education, and the amount of time you can study each week. That leads us to the next tip. Set a goal exam date and communicate it to those that you trust and your accountability partners. Ask your friends and family to check in on your progress occasionally. This can make a big difference in sticking to your schedule or missing your target exam date. What was my studying method? To make sure that I was over-prepared for Part 1's exam, I read the study book twice, watched the video lectures once, read the IIA's professional standards twice, and answered about 800 multiple choice questions and read the focus notes. After that, I felt confident that I knew the domain material at a proficient level. I highly recommend answering lots of practice questions and taking a practice exam. While you may be familiar with the general concepts and IIA standards, it is very important to also be familiar with the format of the exam questions. We all know that you are very smart and you're a great professional, but please study specifically for this exam and the format of the exam questions. Finally, take a practice exam about a week or two before your scheduled exam date. If you make around an 80% or above, then you are most likely ready for the exam. If you score in the 70s, do not fret. A teeny tiny bit more studying should help. I want to be as detailed as possible to help you all actually understand my study method. So my first step was to read the IIA's professional standards. As I understood that all of the questions really align with the IIA professional standards, and I had to have a great proficient knowledge of those in order to expect to pass the exam. Then I would read a lesson. And then after reading that lesson, I would watch the related video lecture. Again, I told you all that I used Wiley CIA exam review for my lectures and for my books. Then I would answer the full study book questions. So all of the study books should have a list of questions for each section, and that helped me to really make sure that I understood the concepts, etc. Then I repeated the process for the next lesson. So after I finished one section, I would move on to the next session by reading, then watching the video, and then by answering the questions. Then I would answer the full test bank after I finished the whole book. So after reading all of the domains of the study book, I would then move on to the test bank that Wiley provided, and that was over 800 questions that I would have to answer. And I would retake the questions until I got them all right and until I understood why those answers were correct. After that long process, I then read the focus notes. So Wiley provides a study book, and they also provide a condensed version of the book, which are the focus notes. After reading the focus notes, I took a practice exam. And again, the aim is to score at least 80% or higher. Remember, a passing score for the Certified Internal Auditor exam is 600 out of the possible 750 points. So after I took my practice exam, depending on how well I did, I would do a final review afterwards to make sure that I understood all the concepts, even the ones that I may have had difficulties with during my first practice or first time studying. And then I would skim over the study books, the focus notes, and make sure that I understood why certain answers were correct and why certain answers were incorrect. So I hope this detailed study method helps you. Remember to understand why the answer you selected was incorrect if you got it wrong. Most study materials provide explanations why the correct answer was correct and why the other options were incorrect. Even if you answer correctly, be sure to read why the answer was correct to confirm your understanding. If you are a visual person like me, reading the book and watching video lectures are the best way to imprint those concepts in your mind. If you are an auditory learner, you need to hear the lesson. So consider investing in audio lectures and creating a mnemonic for key principles. For example, the mnemonic CACI can be used to remember the Code of Ethics principles, which are confidentiality, objectivity, competency, and integrity. Another mnemonic is PAR, which will help you remember the Internal Audit Charter requirements. The charter should discuss the purpose, authority, and responsibility of the internal audit activity. Now, let's move on to some practice questions for each domain. We made it. I promise that this would be a pretty detailed guide for you. If you made it this far, comment below, I made it. I'll try to individually like your comment. Let's answer some practice questions. So the first question relates to Domain 1, Foundations of Internal Auditing. What is the key word in the Institute of Internal Auditors mission statement of internal audit? What is the key word in the Institute of Internal Auditors mission statement of internal audit? A, value, B, assurance, C, advice, D, insight. So we know that the mission statement of internal audit is to enhance and protect organizational value by providing risk-based and objective assurance, advice, and insight. Given that the organizational value drives assurance, advice, and insight, the key word here is value. So we would select A, value. The next question is from Domain 2, Independence and Objectivity. According to IIA Standard 1130, impairment to independence or objectivity, which of the following is not a part of functional reporting to the board? A, audit plan, B, audit charter, C, audit budgets, D, audit risk assessment. Let's look at this question again and remember the key concepts. There's a key word here, which is functional. If you've been studying already, you will remember that the CAE, or the Chief Audit Executive, should have a functional reporting relationship to the board and an administrative relationship to the company management, such as the CEO or CFO. That is the Chief Executive Officer or Chief Financial Officer. The question is asking us, which of the following is not a part of functional reporting? So your mind should ask yourself, which is not an item to report to the board and should be communicated specifically to management in order to maintain independence? The audit committee, which is a part of the board, should know about key day-to-day activities of the internal audit department, such as the audit plan, audit charter, and audit risk assessments. The budget is much more administrative in nature and is of specific interest to the CEO or CFO. Therefore, the answer is C, audit budgets. The next question comes from Domain 3, Proficiency and Due Professional Care. Regarding professional judgment, internal auditors cannot attain A, expected assurance, B, reasonable assurance, C, possible assurance, or D, absolute assurance. We have a trick word in the question. It is cannot. Which of the following cannot be attained by auditors? The easiest way to look at the choices is to determine which three are closely related. It is clear that expected, reasonable, and possible indicate a partial level of assurance, whereas absolute assurance means 100% assurance. From our studies, we know that auditors must use professional judgment during an audit engagement, and we cannot guarantee absolute assurance. So the answer is D, absolute assurance. The next question comes from Domain 4, Quality Assurance and Improvement Program. Which of the following is the key performance indicator for an internal audit activity? A, number of audit recommendations made. B, number of audit clients satisfied. C, number of audit recommendations accepted. Or D, number of audit recommendations implemented. Just by looking at the answer choices, you can see that 3 of the choices relate to audit recommendations, while 1 relates to audit clients. That is one big hint. The other main hint is that we are thinking about the key performance indicators for an internal audit activity, which, like any other department or business function, focuses on customer satisfaction. Audit clients are the customers. The more satisfied our audit clients are, the better the internal audit activity appears. Choice A is incorrect because recommendations may or may not be useful or valuable to clients. Choice C is incorrect because recommendations are not always accepted by clients, even if they add value to the organization. Choice D is incorrect because, similar to C, not all recommendations are expected to be implemented by the audit client. Those do not truly indicate the performance of the internal audit department. So the correct answer is B, number of audit clients satisfied. The next question relates to Domain 5, governance, risk management, and control. Which of the following is closely linked to risk acceptance? A, risk detection. B, risk tolerance. C, risk prevention. Or D, risk correction. There is a key word here, closely. From our studies, we know that risk acceptance is the level of risk that managers are able to accept or are willing to accept. Risk detection is identifying risks, which is not similar to accepting risks. Risk prevention is actually a way to proactively mitigate risks. So that is not the same thing as accepting risks. Risk correction is really a filler phrase, as risks cannot be corrected per se. They can be identified, they can be detected, prevented, assessed, or addressed, but not really corrected. So risk tolerance is the best answer here, meaning that a manager or entity will tolerate, assume, or accept a certain level of risk in order to accomplish a desired result. The next question relates to Domain 6, fraud risks, the last domain. A search warrant is required in a computer-related crime. A, before the allegation has been substantiated. B, after establishing the probable cause. C, before identifying the number of investigators needed. Or D, after seizing the computer and related equipment. Right from the start, we can eliminate choice D. If investigators have already seized the equipment, there is no need for the search warrant. Next, we can eliminate choice C, since identifying the number of investigators needed does not directly impact the timing of the search warrant. We can eliminate choice A because when conducting a fraud investigation, the allegation needs to be substantiated prior to commencing legal actions, such as getting a search warrant. Therefore, choice B is the best answer, which is after establishing the probable cause. Due to the technical nature of a computer-related crime investigation, presenting a proper technical perspective and establishing probable cause becomes vital to securing a search warrant. Whew, if you made it this far, comment "I survived" in the comment section because that was a very thorough exercise. We went through 6 practice questions, 1 practice question from each domain. By the way, those questions were adapted from the Wiley CIA Review 2020 edition. Let's chat about preparing for exam day. Be sure to get plenty of rest for exam day. I have a not so good habit of cramming the notes the night before my exam, and while it helped me pass the test, I was still a bit sluggish and tired prior to taking the test. So please don't be like me. Get your rest. In addition, try to pick the right time of day to take the exam. If you are a morning person, try an 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. testing time. If you are more alert in the evening, try a 4 p.m. testing time. Additionally, do not underestimate the time it will take to travel to your testing site. Be familiar with the testing site location prior to exam day and aim to arrive at least 30 minutes before your testing appointment time. You should bring multiple forms of picture identification to the testing site. This can be a driver's license, unexpired passports, or a state identification card. Unless you finish the exam early, you will be sitting for about 2.5 hours, so be sure to wear comfortable clothing to the test center. All right, those are all the tips and tricks and hints that I have for you. Thank you for watching and good luck on your pursuit to become a certified internal auditor. If you made it to the end, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to update me on if you passed the test and how happy you are that you passed. Parts 2 and 3 are coming next, so if you have any more specific questions, please comment below and be sure to come back when you pass. I want to celebrate with you. Stay blessed and stay bossy.